Today we're looking at a blue ink by Noodlers, a part of their V-Mail series, Midway Blue. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, it really would help me out for you to check out this entire video. Welcome back to everybody that's been here, and if you're new here, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, there's a link to a playlist down in the description if you want to take a look at some different blue inks. Also, the first three writing samples are done on the same papers: Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia. Let's take a look at the first one, 90 GSM Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. Medium is about the same tone as the extra fine. No feather spread, halo sheen, moments of shading. Brown starts darker, gets lighter, gets darker. Over starts a little lighter, gets darker, 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show some color variation, but we're not really getting a ton up here. But the smear test says you could likely recover it if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all the writing samples are done with this Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, Jinhao X 450 with a medium, and this Jinhao X 750 with an extra fine. Then a Pilot vanishing point with a medium nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. The second standard paper is 52 GSM Tomoe River. We get a little bit of ghosting up here in the header, but other than that, we have no bleeding and no ghosting. Very good. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 10 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 15 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation and at no fault of the ink. The smear says you could not recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Much more to do with this paper. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds immediately. And we see it's pushing up, and we start to see there's this turquoise at the bottom. And as it comes up, you have a much darker blue. Now, the one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes, and we see there's blue settled in as a line, making me feel that some of that blue might be a little bit of a hang around. The turquoise pushes up, but there's still more of that blue all the way up at the top, so not all of the blue has set in. The third standard paper is 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a little lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 7 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade, 10 seconds to dry. Now, the scrubbies actually show that we should get some color variation, but they lie, we don't. But the smear test, you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pens. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, there's some blowout that's occurring in the lowercase h, which might make me not want to use this in a note-taking situation if I have to go back and highlight. Now, water's lifting the darkest tone, but really leaving some of that very light blue in place, so you should be able to recover it if it got a bit wet. Pen flush is doing more than water did. You're starting to see some of the white of the paper coming through. And the 1/3 bleach solution is completely removing it from the paper. Now, it only took water to get this out of my pen. Additional writing samples are done on different papers in order to expand some of the experience with different inks. This next paper is Yellow Rhodia. And we're looking at this not to see performance change, but really to see tone changes that we might get for being on yellow paper. And we see that what is mostly a blue turns very much towards a turquoise when it's on yellow paper. And this is just a consideration that you have to keep in mind if you work in that professional setting and you write on yellow paper. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Noodler's V-Mail Midway Blue has a viscosity of 2.3, making it normal. There's a link to a video down in the description for if you're interested in how the viscosity is tested or how the bell curve is made. The next writing sample is done on Franklin Christoph paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 4 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 7 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby shows us we're not getting color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it, but the smear test says you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Noodler's V-Mail Midway Blue is a faster drying ink, coming in at 9 seconds to dry. The last writing sample is done on original Crown Mill paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 3 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby shows us we're not getting any color variation, and we didn't. In the smear, you still could probably recover it if you smear while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like Noodler's V-Mail Midway Blue, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. Almost forgot what ink I was talking about. I went with a nice yellow because I do like yellow inks. This is a golden yellow by Krishna, Yellow Valley. If you'd prefer a different color as a complement, then down in the description are links to all the color playlists. So what do I think of Noodler's V-Mail Midway Blue? This is a very turquoise-leaning blue, which for many people would be good. It does make sense since Midway is an island in the Pacific. It has no shading, but it has a decent tone variation from one pen to the other. I don't see this as a color I would use a lot of, but it isn't bad. So what nib and pen give the best writing experience with this ink? I think a medium flow, medium or fine nib is going to put down your nicest tone onto the paper. It's going to be a more solid tone though. But a drier medium or stub may help bring out some of the shading that this ink should be capable of giving. I hope you got something out of this video, and tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at Schaefer's Blue.